Another funny story about the tobacco, though. So when my business partner and I first started working together, I didn't like the name tobacco. I thought the name was holding people back. And he's trying to explain. He's more the creative side of things. I'm more like the cut and dry, like black and white. And we had a guy, an accountant in Florida, and we wanted to put sandalwood instead of tobacco. Well, I convinced my business partner. It took me a long time to do it. He finally pulled the trigger on it. We didn't sell any. And he's like, dude, you have to understand, like, these together, it makes more sense. Like, tobacco, leather, grass, like, that sounds better than grass, leather, bacon, sandalwood. Like, sandalwood doesn't really fit in there. And that's why we have 13 now, is because the 13, they all fit together in that way. Mm-hmm. We have 4 beer fragrances, apple ale, vanilla porter, IPA, and oatmeal stout, and they don't smell like beer, but they have an undertone where if you smelled it, you would understand, like, okay, I get that. And then the other 9 are leather, bacon, tobacco, grass, cedar, firewood, barbershop, whiskey, one more.
See, now, like, in my mind, I'm like,
so many.
I'm a 40-year-old guy, and I'm walking down, like, an aisle at a store, and I'm not even a 40-year-old guy. I'm a 23-year-old man, but, like, I'm like, wow, that I want to smell that. I want whiskey. I want to see what that smells like, and then, like, not only that, burn it later to see what it smells like.
Well, you're trying to bring the man side of candles.
Absolutely.
Because, like,
that's an untapped market.
Who's got man candles?
No
and, you know, you look at, they have, like, men crates and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, men taking care of themselves is starting to be, it's not as such a feminine thing anymore. And so, yeah, the market is untapped for that, and I think I'm hoping we're at the forefront of it. Yankee Candle tried to make, like, a man cave candle, but it doesn't fit with Yankee Candles and everything else they do. That candle by itself doesn't make sense. You have a line of candles that are made out of recycled beer bottles that all embody the same thing. I mean, it just clicks a little more. And you said, you know, you want to pick it up and smell it, like, after you pick it up and smell it and you read it and you realize it's a recycled beer bottle,
that's
like,
half the battle.
That's it. I mean,
2018, you see the word recycled.
That's what I'm saying. That's capitalism right there. That's that.
Again, I got to give all that credit to my business partner because he did all that in his head before I ever met him. So.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about having him come out here too. That would have been really, really cool. But,
I mean, you guys could definitely come back.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not going anywhere.
Already, we still got a couple hours. I don't know, man. You might want to
hold. You're right.
So what were the first 3 original candles? Well, we should probably introduce you. You want to introduce?
Oh, yeah. Wow, guys, everybody.
We're about 2 minutes into the podcast now. So
this is my longtime good friend. I went to high school with him, Sam Mcfarland. He is an entrepreneur in the Racine area. Aspiring entrepreneur. And he has his own company with one of his business partners. Oh, man. Sorry. Called
Bad
beerMe.
Radio, Jordan.
Yeah, beerMe candles.
Insert advertisement here. That's what I'll do.
I hope no one got that iPhone on there. It was my dad calling me. He knows
I could hear it a little bit in my headphones.
Yeah, it won't be too bad.
That's the mic. That's how good it is, facing the right way.
All right. So then back to my question then. What were the first 3?
First 3 were grass, tobacco, and bacon. And that's when I met him. I met him. I might as well just tell this story because I think it's probably the coolest part of all of it. So I was a student at UW Oshkosh. I went there for.
Oh, look right there. Sorry, look, you can see how cool that is.
Yeah. Nice. There we go. We got him on the TV.
Can you look it up too, Maddie?
So I went there for. I think I was enrolled for 3 years. Yeah, I played football there. Halfway through, so about a year and a half, 2 years. I kind of was at a crossroads. Football was not going where I wanted it to. Realistically, it's because I was playing with grown men, and I wasn't just not mature enough. I was not in the best state of mind in terms of that. My focus wasn't there. But my roommate at the time had done an internship called College Works Painting, and he made like $24,000 the summer he did it, and like that was intriguing to me, of course. But not only that, like it really changed his life. And I approached him like, hey, I think I'd be good at this. I don't know, just kind of had an epiphany. Like I wanted a new challenge, and I thought that I'd be decent at it. I asked him if he'd hire me for it. He had a team of interns. put you out throughout the country, but obviously this one was in Wisconsin. Put you in your hometown. You run your own small business. They do it through painting because there's really no startup costs. You could turn a profit that summer, but they just a very cookie cutter system that they teach you to running a business. And so I knocked on doors to get my clients from February till June without ever receiving a paycheck, which can be a little demoralizing. But
right, it's like, what am I doing this for? Every day you get up.
But the beauty in that is that there's no such thing as immediate gratification. And although that's like an extreme example of like putting yourself through hell for the end result, because it was really difficult. And I mean, I had to fork out money from somewhere that I didn't have a lot of at the time. My parents and family don't have a lot of money, so I actually maxed my grandma's credit card out that spring. Paid her back, so basically, yeah, I was the #1 intern on his team that year. I walked away from football. I was decided I was going to go all in on this. They gave me a promotion to be what he was. I was recruiting my own team for that. That didn't really go so well. I think I had a lot of dissonance. Again, I really wasn't that mature yet either. I had a lot of dissonance in the fact that I didn't like their style of recruiting. It's cold calling, and people don't really know what they're about to be recruited for. And I was recruited very differently. Like I saw my roommate do it firsthand. So like I wanted that. I approached him rather than him approaching me, which I probably wouldn't have been hired if he approached me for it. And so I walked away. Didn't have football, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I decided it was a very humbling thing, but I went back and did the internship. So I gave away my promotion, did the exact same thing that I did the year before. But instead of doing it in my hometown, I lived up in Appleton. Well, I lived in Oshkosh, worked in Appleton, was like a 30-minute drive every day. Kind of just told myself, like, you're going to eat shit this summer, and you're going to learn how to love it. Like, you need this. Like, I knew that I needed something like that to kind of continue to develop and mold me into who I thought I was supposed to be. And so I went through that summer. I didn't have the success in terms of revenue and profit. Well, my profit was better in terms of I made a higher margin, but I didn't make as much money because I didn't bring in as much revenue. And so, but I did have I ran a way cleaner operation, never had a customer complaint. My employees were all happy. It was very different than the first year I did it. I just kind of went in head first, naive, way in over my head.
Well, how old were you? 18? 19?
1920, I think.
We were just talking about that. Like, looking back even at pictures when I was in high school. Like, I was a big guy. I was a fairly decent big guy for high school. But I was so small, looking back at it now. Yeah. And just dumb, too, in the mind. You could tell that at 19 years old, throwing a kid into situations like that, and they're very different. They're arrogant. They're a lot of different things besides level-headed.
Right.
And it's crazy to think of the things that you could get done, with that kind of mindset compared to the mindset that you would have later on in life.
Yeah, I know. And if I knew now what I knew then, I would have just stuck with football, and football would have worked out, I think, fairly well for me. But I would have not, sticking with football, I would have not gained, I would not have humbled myself the way that I have. I would have not, I still would have been a guy looking for immediate gratification. I had to go through those 3 years of like really taking myself out of my comfort zone. And just throwing myself out to the world and hoping it spits me back, the way that I wanted it to. And it slowly was. It wasn't happening as fast as I'd like to. But so I went through that summer. Actually, in June of that summer, I found out I was suspended from school for the first semester, which was, again, a little demoralizing. But like at that point, I didn't even feel like I wanted to be at school anymore. Again, it just... The skills I learned from running my own business, I was in the classroom sitting next to people who were going to take them 4 to 5 years to learn those same skills. Like, it was hard for me.
And do they even learn that? They don't, not
because it's not hands-on. No. They're just going through being told what to do always, and there was a lot of dissonance. Again, it did not line up with where my head was. I could not get a match there, and I think you do have to have a match with your values, who you see yourself as, and the things that you're doing. And so I was continuing to look through that. So I was sitting on my ass for like a month and a half, like literally just, I got depressed, but I kind of liked it. Like I liked putting myself in that because it was time to reevaluate, figure out what the next step is. I had a couple job interviews for sales positions in the Fox Valley. I got one of them. It was just corporate stuff though, and I just knew I did not want to do it, and I never really followed through. And at the same time, my grandma and Mom were calling me. My grandma runs a bar in Racine. She owns a bar called Maxine's, and they were having some struggles there. My mom was calling me every week. I could tell that I could probably bring a lot of value to the bar. And so I decided, screw it. I was still on a lease in Oshkosh that wouldn't be up for like another half a year. I moved home with my grandma, started helping out at her bar. Now I'm basically helping run the bar. I was just a bartender when I first started out. And then I was my high school football coach, Jordan played with him too, Coach Fletcher. He wanted to get his painting business off the ground again, and he wanted to use me as an avenue to kind of help him with that.
Right.
Knowing what I did for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I remember that. We were lifting in the summer, and you guys were having those talks.
But it just didn't really work out. Nothing against him. He runs a great operation. Him and I both have a lot of ego. And we both like to kind of do things our way, and he wanted me to be more of an apprentice, I guess.
Yeah.
And I had done that for the past 2 years. Like, it just,
you figured you
I
could
didn't
just
feel like
take
I was taking that next step.
Right.
So that didn't really work out. That was in December was the last time I worked with him. The bar was starting to turn. People knew about Maxine's.
Hey, partying.
And
you'll find out one day.
and was he not 21?
Nah, not yet.
So not allowed there. But so. I was dating a girl at the time. This is kind of a funny story. I have to tell this part of it. And we had a bad fallout like the week of Christmas. I just remember nothing against her, but for Christmas she got me like a couple candles. She knew I liked candles. I had always had kind of like I don't know. I just enjoy candles. I like burning stuff. Yeah, it's clean. And she got me a couple candles from TJ Maxx that, to be honest, I hated. They were awful candles. They didn't even make any sense. They were girly candles too. Like, you can find girly candles that like are kind of still cool, like, you know,
right.
Fresh air, like stuff like that. And they just weren't. Like, they were straight up girl candles. And like, I was like,
cherry cupcake.
Taken back. Well, we ended up breaking up like that same week. A week later, like the week after New Year's, maybe it was the Wednesday after New Year's. I think New Year's was on a Monday that year. I was at my grandma's bar, and she had a beerMe baking candle on the back bar, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was a bacon-scented candle. I lit the candle, went about my business. Literally the next day, I'm hanging out with my buddy. My buddy Nick came down from Oshkosh. He's like, hey, let's hang out. I had stuff going on, so our plans got changed around. We're going to go hang out with Lucas then at his apartment, his older brother's apartment. So we go over there, we're hanging out, and Lucas is like, hey, like, check this out. Like, have you seen these candles before? And, like, they were beerMe candles. I'm like, yeah. Like, again, I still didn't think anything of it. I'm just like, yeah, like, my grandma had one in her bar, and they were just, like, shook. Like, they did not expect me to say that. And they're like, well, where did she get it? Well, it turned out the one store that my business partner was in at that time was Carriage House Liquor. He was in one store by himself. My brother-in-law managed Carriage House Liquor, so they got that candle for my grandma as a gift, which a lot of people would probably see that whole scenario as like a random coincidence. I read a book that same summer. It's called The Celestine Prophecy. It's a fictional book, but it applies a lot to the real world. And basically the whole book is about like those random coincidences in your life, like quote unquote, they're not actually random. Like, they're there for a reason, and when they're there, it's your due diligence to really dive deep and try to, you know, look into those. And so when I met him, he had his own operation. He was kind of doing it like as a hobby in a way. It wasn't a business yet. And I had run businesses, you know, helping out at my grandma's bar, doing that internship for 2 years. Like, I knew that I could bring value to what he had going on. And again, a lot of people would see it as a random coincidence, but I didn't. It was the first time ever meeting him, and I'm just like, dude, I'm sold on what you're doing. I respect anybody who can just sit in their apartment for hours on end and just make candles like this. Like, it's wild. Let's turn this into a real thing. Like, I think that I want to help get your candles out there. And so I posted something to Instagram that was kind of to show him, like, if I help you, like, you're going to get attention. And it's not me saying that out of arrogance. Like, I just have. You had
to give him a little bit of.
I have a little bit
leverage.
of a following on the internet, and like, you know, I knew that if I posted, and I did. I posted a baking candle to Instagram in January of last year, and it did get a lot of response. People were asking about it, and he's like, okay, like, you weren't lying to me. Like, now what are we gonna do next? And yeah, we kind of just sat down, went over some things, and we're in. I think we have 30 accounts that reorder from us on a consistent basis. We're in like 6 states nationwide. And this has all happened in a year. It's happened pretty fast. And we're at a little bit of a standstill right now, but it's only because we're just building and we're going through some growing pains, but it's all still moving, which I think is important.
You had shared that photo on Instagram talking about setbacks in life, and one of your shipments had tipped over. The crate was on a plywood platform and tipped over, and how many candles broke?
Well, it wasn't candles. It was just the bottles.
Oh, it was just the bottles.
The containers.
Okay.
But yeah, I went up there. We had no idea how many were going to be broken, but just because there was broken ones left on the truck too, and they weren't going to sort through them, we would have had to pay our manufacturer hourly to sort through them. So it's like, fuck it, I'll just drive up there.
Yeah.
I spent like 3 hours counting all of the. We ordered 1,400. I spent 3 hours counting all of the ones that we could salvage. It was 1,107 we were left with, so almost 300.
Man.
But it wasn't that big of a deal. I knew that we didn't do anything wrong. I knew that this kind of shit happens, and 300 candles, like, we could still do with 1,100. We'll be fine. And they credit us the 300 in the meantime. So
nice.
That's cool. So like, Jordan was saying, he thought that you might want to go in like kind of like a beerMe brand. Do you want to do that too, or are you sticking with just candles?
Right now we're sticking with the candles because it's a good avenue, again, to level up. We want to make the most out of the candles. We do have T-shirts, which I think we could have a lot of success with in terms of Facebook ads, just because the logo's really badass, and
it is badass.
The T-shirt says, thank you. And the T-shirt, and again, that's my business partner. Shout out to him for that. He made that with math, something called the golden ratio. Anybody listening to this, I can't explain it to you.
That sounds
Google
like
it, though. Google the golden ratio.
The golden ratio.
I have seen it before.
So he made the logo.
Is that like the ratio to win all ratios?
It's like
the golden one.
She probably could pull
Only
it up.
underperformed by the platinum.
Oh, I've seen that. People get that tattooed on them.
Okay, so in mathematics, this is the definition. Two quantities are in the golden ratio if their ratio is the same as the ratio of their sum to the larger of the two quantities. Yeah, again,
So the beer is in
major.
the golden ratio.
No, the whole logo's in the golden ratio. Like, the B has the golden ratio made with it, and then beer as a whole, the word beer has golden ratio made with it, and then me underneath it, and then the logo as a whole.
So is he in college?
He graduated with a couple degrees in like economics.
In math?
Business. I think he went to school for finance. He's just really freaking smart. One of the smartest people I've ever met. Like, no doubt. Doesn't always apply himself that way, and neither do I. And I could say that because he knows I'll tell him that. But, yeah, he's a freaking smart dude.
So you guys just mesh together real well?
Actually, no, we don't.
No.
Well, we do now. When we were getting to know each other, we would have, like, screaming matches at times. But, again, part of that was me trying to get in the way of his creative. I told you, I talked a little bit before, I don't think we were recording, but how I tried to change tobacco to sandalwood and it failed. For me, like, I was okay with failing on that. Like, I could swallow my pride and be like, yeah, I was wrong. I'm letting you handle the creative side of things from now on. And on my side of sales communication, he would, try to put his 2 cents in. I'm just like, this is what I do. Like, let me do it. And we've slowly gotten to that point. I don't know that I believe in, like, horoscopes and stuff. But him and I are both Tauruses. We have the same horoscope, and Taurus is a bull. And so I don't know if it's real. Like, it makes sense. Like, there's proof in the pudding, I suppose.
Speaking to the gods.
I don't know.
The stars. We're orbiting the stars.
Well, we figured it out, though, and we know how each other works. And, again, that's just growing pains. If you can get through that. There were times when I guarantee him and I did not think we were going to make it through that. But it would just have been such a waste. Like, we're both grown men. Well, like, why would we let egos get in the way of that? And, again, that College Works painting, that internship showed me how to separate your ego. And not just in business, but in life. If you can remove ego from the equation, it's there to protect you. But a lot of times it protects you to the extreme, and it actually limits you. And if you can find a way to remove your ego from a lot of things, you will always grow. You always grow. I
agree, man. Like Planet Fitness says, leave your ego at the dorm. It's just only going to hold you back.
I don't even know
They do say that, though, and it's funny that you say that because I noticed that the few times that I go there, like, absolutely. And it's even like, when I got back into lifting and stuff and see these jack guys, like, even I would kind of be like, like, have that voice in my head like they're looking at me or something. But it's like, you won't get better if you're worried about that. Like, if you're watching people watching you, you're not watching yourself, and it's like, if you're trying to improve yourself, you got to keep a conscious effort to focus on what it is that you're doing, not what other people are thinking you're doing.
I just got to take a second and say I thought Jordan was inspiring when we were on the podcast. Like, no wonder you guys are friends. What does you guys' private conversations sound like?
We used to
just gassing each other up for hours. Bro, you got to go for it. Because whenever he's on here, he's like, bro, you just got to put yourself out there. You just got to put your head underneath the cutting board, and you just got to go, man. Like, you just got to slide in people's DMs to do it. And then he's here. It's like it's almost like there's a fire being lit right
Love
here.
it.
I don't even know what's happening.
Love to hear it.
Right?
When I played college football at Oshkosh, my nickname was a hype man. I think for good reason. I enjoyed that.
Hell yeah. I'm just really excited. I think just from the beginning, you know, I was there, I think, the week you met the guy.
Oh,
yeah.
When I moved home, we were lifting together, and we were always talking about these same things before I even met him.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. If you want to go back that far. Yeah, when we were lifting together, we would come in at 2, and Steve was there, too, and that helped. That was just a collective mindset.
There's a lot of good people.
Yeah, and Destin, and we would talk good stuff. We'd lift, and we would have good conversation. It was all positive. There was no negative, and it really kind of, it made me want to go there more so than just to lift, but to actually be there with these people and conversate with them, because it was good conversation.
Start a gym podcast. Everybody wears lapel mics. You get jacked while you're podcasting.
After you hit your set, you're like, so how do you guys feel about Jesus?
No, but just going off what Jordan said, it's such a cliche thing to say, like, surround yourself with good people. I don't even know that that's the right word, but surround yourself with people who want the same things out of life that you want. You know what I mean? And hopefully with that comes good people, and it has in my life. I've taken a real step back, just, okay, who do I want to be when I'm 40? Because, again, it's no longer about, I live for today. I think what I do today helps me tomorrow and when I'm 40 or hurts me. But it's like I took a real step back and decided everything I'm doing now is for the person I want to be when I'm 40, the family I want to have, the financial position I want to be in. And so if I am surrounded by people who I think are not helping me get to that 40-year-old Sam, then I'm just wasting a shit ton of time. Yeah. Like, we don't have time back. Like, we don't get that back. Mm-hmm. The sooner you accept that and the sooner you make moves around that, like, you're going to start to feel yourself gravitate towards the direction you're supposed to be headed.
I agree.
For sure.
I think with having good, like, honest, just people around you.
Honest is huge.
Yeah.
I just got to say that. Honest is big.
And it's so beneficial. And I feel like a lot of people lack that. They don't have that around them. Like, these, and I remember people talk about it, you know, these growing up in a broken home, or, you know, it's not having a good support system, and just kind of hearing that growing up and kind of pushing it to the side. But the more and more I hear it now and think about it now, and how much that can affect someone and how they grow up and, like, the person they turn out to be, is, I believe that 100%. I feel like some people just don't have a good support system to help them, and, you know, are there to, like, talk to them and push them into, you know, a good direction. I remember I used to just text him random stuff, like, when I was like, oh, I found, you know, the Parkside College Republicans on campus, like, maybe I can find some cool people to talk to, and I was like, you know what I mean? It was just like, and he was doing stuff, and then I was going on about a bunch of other things.
Well,
and
you knew that you were self-aware, and you knew, you know, kind of what makes you click, and, like, that ticker in your brain that gets you jacked up. I think everybody has that to some sort. Some maybe more than others, but and because of that, you evaluated, I guess, the resources that you had around you, and you knew that would be one that could potentially benefit what it is that you're looking to get out of life.
It actually just brought me to a whole bunch of crazy. Like, I'm actually getting out of the MIS degree. I'm going to go into history because I enjoy history. And I told myself, I was sitting in math class, and I'm looking around, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot sit here and pretend like I want to learn this stuff. And even I would try and tell myself that even though this was for a greater good, it's like, okay, Jordan, can you do this semester for the degree? Like, you need the degree. Can you do this? And I told myself, I sat down, I had an honest conversation with myself, and I was like, no, like, this semester even isn't worth my time to get what I want in the end. It's like, I'm better off doing something that I enjoy and feel like I can get a value out of, even though in the end run it's a history degree, wherever that can take me, whatever that even means. I would rather be in school learning that than trying to shove math down my throat, knowing that it just doesn't have any application to what I want to do in the real world. And it's just stuff like that. Oh, what was I talking about? The college Republicans, though? I don't even know.
The intern?
Yeah, the internship. So, I ended up this lady came, and I'm dropping my math class, but I need 3 more credits to stay full-time for my BAH through the GI Bill. Mm-hmm. but I'm getting an internship through the Washington GOP office. It's right by Qdoba on Green Bay and Duran. And now I've got an internship. I got to give them like 10 to 15 hours a week. I get an internship. It's 3 credits. I don't have to be in math class, and I get to go up there. All I'm doing is I'm cold calling people on the phone, telling them to go vote on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And it's super sweet. It's just like, but it's through these people that I just, happen. Opportunistic, is that the word I'm looking for? Is that a real word?
I think so.
Being opportunistic is kind of my motto, and I feel like when opportunities arise or these coincidences, you just take them.
Take full advantage of them. It will open another door. You could level up from that.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like when you pass up on them, you're like, this probably isn't it. This one isn't it. You never know. You
Jordan,
miss that shot.
I'm happy to hear that was the approach you took towards it, because the problem with college is that we give away this money and it gets kids in school, but they have to pay it back. That's one of the small problems. But I realized there were people in my dorm who were just flat out dumber than me. Oh, yeah. No offense to them if you think it's you, but they had a support system where their families gave them $200 a week and things like that. And Jordan, for you, where I'm, and now some of them are getting corporate jobs and they went through college and graduated. I dropped out, you know what I mean? They graduated. I'm thinking, what the hell? How? But at the same time, Jordan, a guy like, because when you're in college, a guy like me who doesn't have that same support system, I'm fighting against time then, because I have to find other ways to get money on the side. Right. I'm taking away from the actual goal that's in hand. Jordan, with you, the GI Bill, that didn't just get you free tuition. That bought you time. Like, you don't have to go out and press yourself to get some job that you hate.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was literally thinking about that. Because I was talking to Tegan about it, and she's like, "Oh, so are you going to go down to 9 credits this semester?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to go to 12 because I need 100%." But in my head, I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, I don't need to take 15, 18 credits. These people are cramming credits because they have to pay this back. They want to do it 3 years because they want to get out. And I'm like, I have 4 years from the federal army to go to school, and then another 4 on top of that through the state of Wisconsin. Like, I have 8 years of my life I can spend education, and there's no rush for me to finish that. And
you're allowed to take the time that it bought you to go do again what makes you happy and clears some headspace. I think it's a big thing, is especially a guy like me. I have high anxiety. I'm freaking all over the place all the time. My head's in 1,000 different places. But any way that you can limit that and bring it down to even keel, I think is just only beneficial, and it sounds like that's what you got going on for you. Right.
Now, I told you, I texted you earlier saying that we were going to bring this up because I kind of find this very interesting. I've been watching the show on Netflix called The Last Kingdom. It's about Saxons and Vikings, and he's been watching. Have you finished Vikings? I heard that was really good.
I didn't finish this last season, no.
Okay, but anyways, it's just these, what are they called? The pagan Danes, they believe in Thor and Odin and stuff like that, and they're fighting off the English who have a new, like this god. It's not like the Pope, and I don't even know. Do they listen to the Pope? Are they Catholic English or
what do you?
The Saxons.
What year is it?
800.
I'd imagine.
What is it like? What kind of? Because Luther didn't come around, so it has to have been Catholicism.
Yeah. If it's the church, it's Catholic.
Yeah.
Nothing came around. Catholic ruled for a long
until
time.
Luther, right?
Which is, I actually want to bring this back real quick. The Celestine prophecy you were saying, was that off of Pope Celestine? One of them, at least.
I'm not sure on that. You'd have to read the book, but I'd recommend reading it. It's a really good read.
Because it makes sense. Because or maybe it's just named after the coincidence. Because Pope Celestine was he came to power as Pope. He was just a preacher who was like a hermit. He was just like a homeless man preaching in a cave, and they were like, "Hey, this guy's really got the stuff. Like,
he's got the juice.
He's got the juice. He's the sauce boss. Let's go check it out, man." He preaches in this cave. He preaches like nobody's ever heard before, and all these cardinals, these high-level cardinals in the Catholic Church, they were all pissed because this dude, they were like, "Yeah, man, this guy,
false prophet, quote unquote,
he's the next pope." And so then they just made this like homeless man a pope.
No way.
Yeah, and he took the opportunity. So that's what I just kind of.
So again, the book is fiction. I don't think that they reference that directly, but the analogy is definitely there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was just I was getting to the point to where these people in the show, at least, they depict them, and like the way they go about their days, every day is devoted to God. Like they're always looking for the next time to pray. Everything that they do, every good fortune that they got, they pray for it. Mm-hmm. It was a very different like mindset to see, and like as you're watching the show and as it keeps going on, you're like, wow, like, and their faith gets tested, you know, but sometimes it prevails. And then in my head, I'm like, well, is that a work of something because they're praying, or is it because, you know, miracles are just grand coincidences that just happen? And in my one class, my liberal studies class, we're learning about like it's life after the Renaissance and Martin Luther, you know, the Reformation of the Catholic Church. He said, hey, you guys are doing it wrong. Like, you don't have to do it like this. And, you know, it's just a different type of faith. And I know you are big in faith, and I was just curious as to where, you know, like how that plays a role, and, you know, like how you conduct yourself as a person. Because personally, I mean, I was baptized Lutheran. I used to go to church as a kid, and I believed in God for a while. I'm not quite sure where I'm at now, but I understand that there's something out there that, you know, we harness energy from. I don't know what that is, but I believe our energy source is somewhere, you know what I mean, in something. And yeah, I was just curious as to like why you know, you take pride in, you know, having faith and using God or whatever that is, and how it helps you, and, you know, your message you get from it.
Well, especially nowadays when it's almost like looked down upon. In
right, it
ways.
is. Which
well,
is
beauty in
sad.
that, I'll just cut in right there, is in the Bible it says like people are going to look down. It already addresses that. So like I feel the more that they are, no matter what you're doing, if you have people questioning you and looking down on you, but you know in your head like that it's right, you could go to sleep at night and you know you did the right thing that day, like none of that should matter. Like it's just, that's why I think it's so important to take yourself out of your comfort zone. Maybe God isn't your end all be all. No, God is perfect, but maybe that's not your end all be all. Maybe that's not what you want to believe in. That's what I believe in. But at the end of the day, you take yourself out of your comfort zone and you eat shit, you know, for however long it takes to start to mold you, and like it forces you to take a stance, take a step back and really reevaluate your morals, your values. And then with that, once you have that established, that foundation, you can kind of apply that to what it is you're doing in life. And yeah, I have used God really through my whole life. I don't believe that I'd be taking the steps, and I want to be clear, I have a really long way to go. Like I still have to fight sometimes financially and things like that. Like it's not like I figured it out. Like I have a long ways to go. I've embraced that. But I grew up in not the best environment. I didn't have the best family structure. I didn't have the best support system. I have two parents. I have awesome grandparents. It's things that not everybody has. But, I mean, I went through some things that I would not wish upon any elementary student, middle school student, high school student. And God always somehow figured it out for me. Right. And the reason why I say it is because I quit trying to do it on my own. It's just like, okay, I'm living in God's world. Like, you know what I want out of life. Put me on your path, and, like, I got to do you know, faith without practice is nothing. Like, you can have faith, but if you're not practicing that, you're not doing anything. And so everything that I do, I try to just do it through God and through what I think is basically fueling me. And I get a lot of those values, I would suppose, from the Bible, from, I guess, Jesus' teaching. I don't really believe in religion, especially Catholicism. A lot of my friends who look down upon, like, God and stuff like that, they grew up in a Catholic church where they're forced, like, if you don't do these things perfect, you're going to hell. Like, that's wrong.
Exactly how Shimmitz is.
And I get it. I would be pushed away. Luckily, I didn't learn that way. Like, I'm very fortunate to learn it a very different way. It's not about having a relationship with your church. A lot of those people, they show up to church once a week on Sunday. They drive around with a fish bumper sticker, and they think they got it figured out. Like, no, that's not it. It's just about living in the way that God wants you to live, or living in the way Jesus wants you to live. But if they wanted us to be perfect, if that's what their plan was, God, Jesus, any religion, like, then we wouldn't need them. So that doesn't make any sense. He wants us to need him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He sent his son. It is my belief that he did send Jesus, put him on a cross, paid that ultimate price so that we didn't have to pay the same price. We didn't have to die for our sins. You know what I mean? We could be born with sin. It's just inevitable. We're all messed up. But, like, if you just accept that he already paid the price for us, and don't go openly sin, say God's going to forgive me. Like, no, you can't do that. You can't play tricks with the guy. But If you just know, like, I'm not going to hell, like, I just have to figure this out, this area of my life out. Like, I got to do this the way Jesus wants me to do this. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to be a better person, and I do think that is what the path to heaven is.
Right. I think no matter what, if you follow the 10 Commandments or just any, like, Christian religion to a certain degree, besides, like, those Baptist Westboro people, they're a little crazy. You're going to be a good person. You're going to be a human being that can function in today's society and function well, I would assume. I mean, obviously there's other factors into that, but if you uphold yourself to these, you know, religious standards that you can find across almost all religions, you're going to be a good person. And there should be no fault for someone in believing that. And I don't understand why people do fault people for having, like, faith as long as they're...
It's scary. It's foreign in a way. It's scary to think, oh, I'm actually not in control.
Right.
In which I don't think. I think our direction and our intentions we're in control of. The path to get there, we aren't. Like, I'm happy in a way this took a little bit of a religious turn just because I talk about these random coincidences. The Celestine Prophecy book, meeting my business partner, the way that things unfolded, like, those are all, I got some luck in there, but I prayed for that luck, like, you know what I mean? And I was doing the things necessary. You know, I could not have, it's like God made time, so his timing is perfect. Like, I could have came back, helped my grandma at her bar, met this candle guy, but I would have never had that value to bring to him if I didn't have God telling me, dude, look at your roommate and how business changed his life. Go do that. Like, I had to do that first, you know what I mean? And God put that stepping stone. The roommate who introduced me to it, we had 3 roommates already. It was a 4-place suite in Oshkosh on campus. And we got him by random coincidence too. Like, I believe that he was thrown into that mix for that reason. And I'm not saying it's for me. It's a little bit selfish of me to say. I think he impacted all my roommates in a certain way. But I know that I had prayed for, like I told you, I was at a crossroads. You know, I was praying, and like that just kind of opened up to me. It won't open up to you if you don't believe it. I know that.
I mean, I've prayed a few times, and I remember I got in a conversation with one of my buddies in the Army. His name was Zamat. Last name Zamat. Good friend of mine from Texas. And I told him we were having a conversation. I was kind of in a down place. I think we were in Lithuania. And I was like, man, I feel bad because the only time I try to talk to God is when I need him. And I don't try and talk to him when I don't need him. Mm-hmm. Ever. And I felt bad because I wanted to talk to him, but I was just like, man, the last time it's been probably 1.5 years, 2 years, and the last time I just wanted something from you again. And then he looked at me and he's like, but that's the thing, man. He's like, he doesn't care, and that's when he wants you to talk to him. And I was just like, damn. Okay.
Which is true. I've gotten a lot better, though. I think I pray more, like when I see God moving mountains in my life.
Right,
like, I'm very thankful and very appreciative. Like, again, the environment that I'm surrounded by and just my family structure and such is not the healthiest, but everything is always somehow, even if I've made it by a penny, like something, it's always worked out. And I just know, like, and it's always out of my control too. The more that I try to put my will on it, like, it doesn't work as well. Like, it doesn't. It kind of blows up in my face. When I just take a step back, meditate on it a little bit, breathe on it, you know, and just think about what it is that I actually want. And I ask for a sign, like the signs appear. That's the biggest thing, is I've gotten really good at asking for signs and noticing them when they're in my face. Like, again, I showed you guys that text message when all those crates fell. Yeah. Like, that same day, that girl sent us the text that her dad sent her a picture of that beerMe candle, and was like, that picture embodied everything of beerMe. Like, in my eyes, that was God pushing that little encouragement on me. Like, I know that you guys just lost 300 bottles, but here you go. Like, you're doing it. You're fine. Just keep moving.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
And I don't know. Maybe that's just a part of the world changing too, because when we got like the way our smartphones work now, and they listen to you and they start putting stuff up, like, I feel like that's getting into people now. Call me crazy, but
I know what you mean. I'm right there with you.
I've like not. It's not like I see an ad anymore. I'm talking about someone, and then I get like I get a text message from them.
So that's
like
that's that book. That's the Celestine Prophecy.
These are active things that are happening now. It's I'm doing something, and someone has to do something onto me that is a really weird coincidence is happening more often than not.
Oh yeah,
So
I definitely noticed it.
That book says, like, if that person texts you when you were talking about them, like, you should figure out why. Like, there's something underlying there that you should dig deeper on.
Right.
Like, don't make yourself paranoid over it.
No, I'm not.
I think you probably make yourself, not just you, anybody could go crazy over that.
The college Republican kids are gonna listen to this and they're gonna think I'm crazy because I'm I'm the wild one of the group. They're pretty like Christian. Republican, conservative type people.
You're the pagan with crows on your arm.
Yeah, I'm the one that says, I think we should legalize.
Well, here, since now that I know that the Republicans
like you're in the wrong club, buddy.
Now that I know that they're going to listen to this, I have something great for them. The Bible specifically talks about taking care of all of God's creations, not just yourself, not just people, animals, plants, all that. And so I think that Republicans and their inability to see the facts behind climate change and the way it's affecting our animals, the way it's affecting our plants, the way things are drying out. I mean, just that whole situation together, God, based off of the Bible, would argue that you're not helping take care of his creation. Right. So it'd be very not like Christian to go ahead and ignore the facts that climate change presents, because again, you're not helping take care of God's creation. So there's a huge discrepancy there, a lot of hypocrisy with that, and I mean that goes a lot of ways too. But that's one of my specific ones for Republicans. Like, okay, you could say that you're doing God's will, but if that were the case, then we also would take a better look at climate change, because we're literally destroying God's planet by letting that go on.
And I know this is I probably should be saying this because I'm like about to intern with the Racine GOP, but
I'm sure she could cut this out.
Nah, it'd be cool. I put myself in the position to talk to Republicans, though, is because I honestly think I can talk to them more. Mm-hmm. And I know that my views aren't as much as theirs, probably. More than likely. I'm like, that's one thing that would deter me from the Republican Party is, I think that we do need to take care of our planet. And, some of them don't think that's even remotely close to...
You're like a Republican hippie. 'Cause that's how I feel.
Yeah.
It's like... You don't want to be like the guy who's like sounds pretentious and like I'm libertarian.
Right.
But that's like really
but that's
what
kind of what you are.
Like,
yeah.
You're like everybody's like saying like I look at myself as liberal, and you're like I'm libertarian.
Well, I think that we're all libertarian, but and this is really getting into the conspiracy side of things. But if there wasn't that divide, Democrats versus Republicans,
red versus blue,
the government would not have the control that they have. And I mean. There's a reason why Gary Johnson wasn't on stage and why he wasn't marketed to be on stage and why they let money dictate that. It doesn't make any sense. If Gary Johnson was on stage and America was watching, I think a lot of Americans would have been, I don't know that he would have won.
Right.
I think a lot of Americans would have been like, first off, who the fuck is this guy? Because he was not.
He was doing, I think
there's
while
no
they were doing the
propaganda behind
debate,
him.
he was at like an Applebee's doing a Facebook Live event.
He'd probably be phenomenal. I mean,
and on stage with them, he's just so much more even keel. And yeah, he's in between. But I think in between is okay. There's a balance.
I like it.
So,
I like
speaking
it.
of Republican, which one, I know you, it's one of your friends. You guys are always like arguing with the teacher on Facebook, one of your old teachers. Is that you?
I think that's probably me. Talk about Mr. Ike.
Mr. Ike.
Yeah.
I think it's
you and I are the only ones who really get into it with him like that.
I see it all the time, and I'm like, oh my God.
Honestly,
Mr. Ike, I'm posting this to Facebook. I hope you listen to it.
I just actually uncovered a 1946 newspaper.
Yeah, where were you?
We were in Illinois. I was helping a buddy gut his house, and it was actually underneath the
foundation?
kitchen floor.
Yeah,
so
I was about to say, it looked like you were
all the other papers we'd seen so far were like 50s, 60s, and they were in good shape.
So some asshole just built on top of that.
No. It was part of like it was used to like lay the tiles on top of. But the guy who built it originally came back from World War II and built the house. But in the paper, it had an article about they used to have lepers colonies, like the skin disease lepers, I guess, and they would put these people into a colony. Like they would have to live together because they didn't know how to contain them. And this guy who had a Japanese girlfriend who got lepers from one of those Japanese internment camps from World War II got put to one of these colonies, and the guy was an army captain, I think. And he was like, hey, Congress, I want to go live with my wife. I don't care if she's in this leper colony, like this colony of people with the skin disease. Like he wanted to go live out his days with her, and it was this huge deal, which I thought was really cool. And then another one, though, speaking of Mr. Ike, I sent to him. It was who was it? Truman, the railroad railroad workers were about to go on strike because they weren't getting paid enough. So Truman was actually going to seize like the railroads. God, that's terrible. The railroads. He was going to seize them. The government actually seized them just so they wouldn't go on strike because they need them to continue production and stuff like that, which is unheard of. Like, imagine the government coming in and being like, "Hey, sorry, your beerMe candle company, we want that because your workers are going to go on strike and we can't have that."
Yeah, we wouldn't be unionized, so
maybe the United States of Soviet Russia. That's just crazy. I thought like it's just cool, like stuff like that, and just the way the world has changed.
I don't know if we were recording when I was listing off the 13 fragrances. I only thought of 12, but I just thought of the 13th, so I just want to throw it in there.
Yeah, what is it?
Firewood. I don't think I said firewood.
I think you did.
No, he said a different one.
He said firewood at one point. I know that for a fact because
I agree, maybe.
Because I remember I was
I'm
like,
still stuck on the IPA. I want to know what that one smells like.
Yeah,
nice and clean. It's good.
Barbershop too.
Where are some of the places locally that you can even buy them at?
Reef Point Brew House, and I know they had their little fallout, but they took care of it, which is why we felt comfortable working with them on the situation that they ran into with the racial stuff and all that. They completely took care of it the way any corporation should. And we were in talks with them literally the day before that article came out. So we had to kind of reevaluate and decide if that's the route we want to take. But we made custom labels for them.
I've seen those.
So they have all of our fragrances there. Modern Apothecary in Kenosha has all of our fragrances, and I believe Carriage House has all of our fragrances. In this vicinity, those would probably be the most convenient. Milwaukee Public Market it's a place called West Dallas Cheese and Sausage Place inside of Milwaukee Public Market. They sell a shit ton of them there. And then Mars Cheese Castle as well sells a shit ton. But
nice.
From like August through the winter, Mars Cheese Castle doesn't buy anything. They don't, and I think it's because they sell a lot of their items in there when they made their retail shop. From tourism, I don't think they get as much tourism in the winter months.
Right.
So
you got like the most iconic places, like Milwaukee Public Market, iconic Milwaukee. Mars Cheese Castle. I mean, how many times you drive past that?
Everybody knows we feel like we have an iconic product, and we're not there yet. And again, for where we're at, I guess you could say that's very arrogant of me to say, but I don't feel that way. I know I see the response every single day, and I know the success
people
that we've had.
need beerMe candles. They just don't know that it's there.
Just don't know it yet. We're getting there.
You drive past Mars every day?
Every day.
Every single day. He works at Amazon.
There you go.
There you go. Stop in.
It's actually really cool. Mars Cheese Castle is a cool place. If you like beer and just looking around in a unique Wisconsin shop, that's it.
Oh, yeah. I just feel like it has that look, too, and there's so many places that have that look that couldn't pull off a candle unless it was that candle. You know what I mean? Like, that look just goes with that picture.
It's a damn beer bottle.
Again, shout out to my business partner for that, because I have had really virtually no influence in that regard. He has a notebook full of just drawings and shit and stuff that he probably will never use, but it's just because that's how his brain works, and he was able to draw that in his head, which is just wild. I mean, all that is just a drawing.
The M with the candle is just genius. I remember staring at it when I first seen it. I was like, wow.
A lot of people, just
you didn't notice it, huh?
But that's why our T-shirts will do well, is because they don't know that's what it is. It's just a beerMe shirt. You know what I mean?
A teardrop right there. I thought it was like
a teardrop is a drop of beer or a flame on a candle.
Yeah, do you notice there was a drop of beer coming out of the faucet?
Oh, dude, I didn't notice that.
You didn't? Are you guys blind?
No, I just always thought it was a candle. Wow, man.
Again, I can't take any credit for that as my freaking genius business partner.
We got to have him on, too. You guys were on WTMJ4 or something, weren't you?
It was CBS, that little show they do called Racine and Me. That guy who runs the show, Jacob Kittelstad, I hope it's how you pronounce his last name. I'll send him this, too. I'll make sure he watches it.
Hell yeah.
He DM'd me on Twitter and was like, I saw what you guys do. I want you on the show. It was a lot of fun. We drank beers on set.
Yeah,
awesome. So who did you guys have to do all your own photography, like get someone local, or did you send that
me and my sister have different dads. My older sister Erica, her dad Paul, he has a photography. He does photography on his own. Paul J. Riccio Photography, I believe, is what his Facebook is. Paul Riccio, and he has. Shout out to him for real, because he's not even let us give him $1. That's awesome. He'll do it whenever we ask for him. He's like, you're family to me. Whenever you want it, I'll do it. And yeah, he does the photography. He's pretty badass at it, obviously.
It is pretty badass. It's just manly. Everything about it. It's like you're saying, like, men they want candles. They just don't know that they want candles.
I know.
Once they see a freaking candle in a beer bottle, it's got tobacco labeled on it. They're like, hell yeah, I want that. You know?
Hell yeah, I want that.
You walk past it, you're like, yes.
Yes.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. Yes.
And it was more so that when we only had the 4. Now we have the 13. We have apple ale, vanilla porter. Like women love
it's
those.
gonna start tasting good, like in your mouth.
I'm a little offended because I love apple ales. I just smack the reds. But
well,
I'm allergic to beer.
If you ever come to Maxine's and order an apple ale, I'm gonna tell you no.
Well, you know what? I'll be 21 in October.
Cool.
Actually,
we'll have the party at Maxine's.
But I'm allergic to beer, so.
Oh, are you allergic to gluten?
No, I think it's wheat or not wheat. Hops.
Oh, that's tough.
I know,
wow.
Right?
That's why I rock with the reds. I'm just kidding.
Are you sure that it's not gluten? Have you tried a gluten-free beer?
No, but I eat a shit ton of gluten.
Okay, so it can't be that.
Yeah,
wow, this guy's
because it's not
because
gluten is like a stomach ache, right? You get stomach ache. My throat swells up.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's different.
Probably the hops.
A little different.
What do you drink?
Well, I'm too young, so I don't drink alcohol.
Okay.
But if you were to have a preference.
But if I were to have a sip of something, it's probably going to be a Reds, or if it's a beer, or if I like the smell of Tito's.
Sure, yeah, he's a big vodka guy.
Big vodka guy.
Tito's seltzer with limes in it. That's what I
don't like seltzer water, but it is healthier. I try not to drink soda, man. I mean, I do it. I will drink a seltzer, but I try not to drink soda, but it's so damn good, man. You just have a nice.
Okay, I got you. Tito's cranberry juice topped with 7-Up, with a lime in there. I promise.
I could rock with that. I like Tito's lemonade. So I've had a couple of Tito's cranberry.
See, I would do it with some Tanqueray though, a little bit of gin.
Vodka, and we're comparing apples to oranges now. We're talking about vodka for your cousin here.
Yeah, how dare you?
I'm just saying.
You like gin and tonic, or is that Colin?
No. Tonic is disgusting. But
we were big into Wiz Khalifa in high school. I think he was on the Bombay.
Yeah, I was on the Bombay train,
there was
but
a
it's
bunch
Tanqueray
of
now.
Gin and tonic, and when we just went to Amsterdam, that was big there.
Oh yeah, you went to Amsterdam.
So I had a couple of those.
Lucky.
Recommend. You should go sell.
You could drink in Amsterdam.
Some candles.
Yeah.
You should go sell some candles in Amsterdam, dude. I swear to God, that probably sounds crazy though.
No, it doesn't. But I've messaged people from freaking on Instagram from Albania, which I don't know too much about.
Where it's at.
And maybe it wasn't the best idea, and nothing came of it. But I mean, we're open to everything, man. We'd love to go worldwide.
I swear to God, Maddie can vouch. Would they use them in Amsterdam? Like this, the whole city looks like this.
Yeah,
I swear.
The city looks like a candle.
The whole city looks like a beer candle, man.
Like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, it's like so. The city is so hipster.
I love it, bro. You got Amsterdam.
Well, when we walked
with a fire in it.
It's called the Max Brown Hotel. We walked in, candles everywhere. Yeah. Like, where do you see candles openly lit anywhere around here? I'm talking. There was like 20 candles on every single table.
Americans with candles, man.
No, they don't, man. And there was books nailed to the wall. Like the wallpaper was books.
Yeah, they would like it there.
Yeah, they would.
Our
really
pricing is not there yet to go that far east, but overseas.
They also have a shop in one of the stores there. It's called the the Maker Shop.
Yeah.
It's like Etsy, but it's a shop. So people who make their own homemade stuff and stuff like this, really, they just sell it in that shop and they get a percentage of it. You know.
So they do that through Etsy.
No, it's like Etsy though, but that would be nice.
Yeah, so you're just trying.
It's called the Maker Shop. I mean, honestly, you could.
You're gonna have to give me that.
Yeah,
you don't have to do it right now, but after
them and just see what's up.
Oh, they would absolutely. That's all I do now. Now that we have 30 accounts, you know what I mean. I'm just always sourcing new ones.
Right.
It would be
you got
awesome.
That leverage.
Especially
a little bit of leverage,
it would give you it'd give you an excuse if you ever had to go, oh shit, got a business meeting in Amsterdam in 3 months. Like,
write that off.
Because it is sick there, man. It is like, I mean, look at it. It really looks like that.
Awesome.
That's really how it looks.
That's good shit.
Yeah. So when did after how many? I don't even want to ask. I was just like after how many accounts were people
shop.
oh these guys mean business. It's not like just some kid off the street who wants to sell me candles.
I think right away,
really?
Which is the value that I knew I could bring to him. I think when and no offense to Nick, but he'd never done sales like that, presented a product or presented a service. That's all I did.
Yeah.
Think about this. When I was knocking on doors, I painted 50 homes in 2 years. I picked up a paintbrush 10% of the time, maybe.
Right.
Even less the second year. And a lot of times I'd sit down with homeowners who, is 18, 19, 20-year-old college student who's never painted before. Why would I let this person paint my home? And the company taught you how to, communicate that in a way that showed them the value that you had. And so right away when I was going to these stores, I knew I'd look around the store a little bit, maybe get a little bit of knowledge of the store before I went in there. It was just all about how the candle pertained to their individual store. And I'd like to say I'm pretty good at communicating that. And I think they took it seriously right away. And if they didn't, they took it seriously the second I followed up with them.
Right.
And again, when it comes to business, I don't know that naturally I'm the most business-minded person, but when you talk about the little stuff, I've always been good at doing the little stuff. And I think that's just the biggest thing. I think that's the reason why Jimmy John's is what they are today. You go into Jimmy John's and you see a shelf that has all the mayonnaise on it, and right below that the shelf with all the pickles. And it's like that in every single Jimmy John's you go to. They're consistent, and they're consistent with the way they communicate that to their customers. Yes, it's the reason they didn't just stay as a little small mom and pop shop. You know what I mean? And it's like you fake it till you make it. And although we weren't there yet, we're still not there, and we have a long ways to go before we get there. I always communicated as if we mean business. And when we do mess up, because we are young, I just tell them my bad. Like I'm 22. Like we're all about honesty and being upfront. Like this is an issue that comes with our growing pains, and we'll figure it out, and it won't happen again. And we've been pretty consistent on that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to rock with right now, that mindset, fake it till you make it, because like I said, got like 26 subscribers and most of them are in here. So, but I mean, like the setup you would assume maybe 100 subscribers.
Sure.
Not even close. No,
I hear
maybe
you.
one day.
You just got to keep grinding, man. Find your niche. I mean, I think the rebranding maybe this rebranding isn't what you stick with either. I mean, you have to always be able to adapt. But with that, don't adapt too much either. Stick to your guns.
Well, and I think, do you listen to podcasts at all?
The only one I really listen to is Pardon My Take. It's like the #1 sports podcast. But it's all satire. Barstool Sports does it. And they're freaking, that's awesome. It's just about an hour long. But yeah, if I'm on the road for a long time, I'll listen to Joe Rogan. But other than that, it's really, maybe some NPR, How I Built This, just because it's all about how people built companies from the ground up.
No way.
Oh, dude, that's a badass.
Cool. Check that
out. That's a badass podcast. I mean, companies on there like Southwest Airlines, like how they took it from nothing and built it to what it is.
Bought a dinghy, a little puddle jumper, and next thing you know, I got 300 747s.
It wasn't Yankee Candle, but it was I can't even think of it right now. It's on the NPR podcast. But there's another candle maker. They're a $1 billion company now. It's Chesapeake Bay Candles. They had the creator of that on there too, and we got some stuff from there.
Okay.
A little bit, but
yeah, I mean with this, it's to have like a niche. It's almost like it's not there because we just kind of want to talk to people. You know what I mean? Just kind of get conversation out there and hopefully have some kind of a positive message and just explore. Like I just enjoy talking to people. So like what comes second after that?
Yeah, like that's why I think it's cool about it too, is that like we don't have a theme, because I like to talk to people, and if I'm going to talk to people, might as well record it, put it out there. Maybe somebody wants to listen. If they do, it's awesome, and that's why I think obviously we're going digital, but a lot of the stuff, especially you look at all the YouTubers, that's where it's going. People go for entertainment. It's not for like TV. I mean, people still go to the movies, but if they're sitting down doing something, they're not going to turn on a movie. They want to listen to people talk. They want to listen to Joe Rogan. They want to listen to Barstool Sports, especially. Those guys are killing it.
Yeah,
rushing it.
They don't, because who gets their sports news from ESPN these days? They don't even talk about sports. First of all, you go to Barstool, and you get your sports with a side of comedy. You don't get your sports with a side of political correctness.
Which majority of people who like sports do. Okay, I say majority. I would assume majority of people who like sports or like to sit down and read or listen about sports,
enjoy the game,
probably are guys for the most part, I would say. And then with that, if you could throw a satire in it, a majority of their humor is related to guys. I mean, they've done a really good job of being a little more inclusive than they were. But yeah, I mean, it's a market that was always there that people were scared of. But the founder of another interesting dude, the founder of Barstool Sports, I mean, he's
older, right? Yeah, he's like 30.
40 something. Oof. He's like, yeah, he's up there.
Really?
But he's like 40, I think, 39. But he started 15 years ago. handing out newspapers for free in Boston only in Boston. And he would create 4 different aliases so that people didn't think he was a one-man operation, and like write under 4 different names, and was just hanging those out on subways, on corners. He did that for free for like 3 years, like, you know what I mean, before they started bringing in any type of advertisement.
Wow.
But he just, that's his motto, and I try to follow the same motto as brick by brick, like salt of the earth, brick by brick. That's how you build the foundation. And I mean, he did that, and that's why their company is so strong and has such a strong fan base, because they did it naturally, they did it organically, and they did it brick by brick, you know.
That's crazy. I remember like hearing about Barstool. Like,
Yeah,
I honestly thought it was just a meme account, like on Twitter. I just thought Barstool was just where people sent meme content of like sports, and they just produced it. And then I was like, wait, these are a bunch of sports guys.
There's a company called Rough and Rowdy.
I seen that, yeah.
And
I seen that.
I think they were based out of Texas, and it was just like MMA, like Hick style, redneck style. And Barstool bought that company.
I seen.
For, I imagine, pennies. I mean, you know, this company was worth nothing. And now, last night, Barstool did their second Rough and Rowdy presentation. 41,000 people bought that pay-per-view, like, which is nuts. I mean, this had no market. This Rough and Rowdy, nobody knew who it was. Now 41. I almost bought it. Like,
I thought you were gonna put it on at the bar.
No, that's funny. I thought about buying it, but the first time that's how it shows how good they are and how much they progressed. The first time, like, I had no intentions of buying it.
Right.
I laughed
This time,
at
you
myself even
almost
thinking
did.
about it. This time, I literally almost bought it.
How much was it?
$15.
Oh, it's
come on.
$9.99.
Oh, come on.
If you buy it before,
yeah.
15 the day off.
15
And it
day
was yesterday. It was the firefighter, right? One of them was a firefighter.
Probably. I don't know.
I think he was a firefighter.
All I know is
So I remember seeing the thing on Facebook.
they were kind of going blows. Like I seen this fat kid crying. That was pretty funny. There was this really hot ring girl. She was pretty thick.
I remember Joe Rogan was
Nice.
talking about ring girls one time, and how like everybody was saying they need to stop because it's like sexist.
Oh
and then
my.
the ring girls came out and they were like, "This is how we make a living, you idiots. This is our job.
Yeah.
Like, you take away our job, what are we gonna do? Like, we
I
have
thought
to look for
feminism
another
was
job."
all about, like, you can't argue against sexism and then, like, be for feminism. And I guess you can, but what I mean by that, because I don't want to go down too much of a slippery
We have a
slope.
girl in the room. It's okay. You can say whatever.
No,
you
but
want.
what I mean by that is, I thought feminism is all about, like, using your body in a way that's for you to make you independent. Like,
Right.
and if it's bringing you monetary value and whatnot, like, I think that you can't have both sides of that.
And not just that, if they're okay with it.
Right.
I mean, they got to work for the body. They're not sitting around eating.
Debatable.
Well, that's why the point of it shouldn't be sexism is such a blanket term, and feminism, all that. Like, there should not be a blanket thrown on everything.
would
It should
like
be
to believe
every individual for themselves,
That
and their values and morals should reflect that.
right. I would like to believe that someone could come up to me and just assume that I think women should be treated equally as men, like to a certain aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like that we should be treated equally. Yeah, no, not to a certain aspect. We should be treated equally on face value. You know what I mean? Like, that makes sense.
On face value. How long are we at?
1 hour 2 minutes.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's roll, man. Wow, that is a
You got a bang word tonight?
jam-packed first hour.
No, I'm good
If
to
you guys
go.
want a random ass Reddit question, just let me know.
Okay. Oh, Reddit guy. But yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I
Jam-packed
like
first
to
hour.
label myself a feminist. I feel like you should just assume that everybody is like.
I mean,
yeah.
especially, I just keep saying it. It's 2018. Like, wouldn't you?
Well,
Right.
Isn't that
right.
how about
the
this? This is
normal
the question you asked.
You know what? Well, you know what the problem is you give 40-year-old like white people Facebooks and access to the internet,
And they don't.
then
They're, when
they
they're
just don't.
They don't know how to say educated things.
No, and the people think
And
that
then they get
that's the
mad,
majority of the
and then it's worse.
population, and I'm like, man, no, we're not like that. Like,
And once they get mad, it gets worse, and it's like then they really don't know what
it's
they're
like the
saying.
shit they used to say at the dinner table when you were a kid. They just say it online now.
I don't declare myself a feminist, but that doesn't mean that I also can't find somebody and ask that person, do you think men and women should be treated equally? And if said person says, no, I think men should be treated with more respect, like, I can also tell that person that they're wrong and that they're
Right.
an idiot. Like, but that doesn't mean I have to be a feminist to do that, or vice versa, you know?
And now it's like you can't even be a feminist unless you're actively doing something to
yeah,
promote.
they don't
a
want
feminist
anybody who
cause.
doesn't actually.
Yeah, you have to be in the streets marching.
Wild.
I don't know, man.
I
don't know.
Another thing I was
That's
gonna
just the
ask you.
world.
Where do you want the brand to go like from here?
Oh yeah, you were asking about branding a little bit. I talked about T-shirts.
He wants a store.
I think we want to. No,
on Main Street.
That's not true. Probably just stay online. But I think we want to make some soaps. Would be next.
Oh, that'd be cool too.
It can go a lot of different ways, and I mean, eventually it would be cool if you had a beerMe brand that you could fill a man cave with. I think makes the most sense.
It'd be sweet, man. Cutting boards. I'm a huge
fan.
I love cutting boards.
Bottle openers.
Yeah, for sure.
Coasters. But with that, we do want to release a women's line, like an actual women's line of candles. And I mean, we don't want to just be exclusive to guys. Like we've seen the response, and we're not. Although 60 to 70% probably does come from guys. Like it's also women. I guess that
women buying for guys. Though,
that's
right?
the biggest sale is women who are buying them from guys, and if on the side they see something that they could like too, like would love for them to be able to feel like they could grab
keep in the same aesthetic with that, or would you like?
It's just talks. We have no idea.
Yeah.
So
again, we're at our level now. We kind of have leveled up from the momentum phase from building the blocks, and the level that we're at is just maximizing where we're at, so we can continue to get some capital. So we continue to move money around and kind of have a little more freedom because we're tied to. We took a loan out, and from one of my grandma's friends that helped us get to 13 fragrances as fast as we did. We could have done it organically, but we had to do it a little quicker.
We had to do it a little quicker. I came over one day, and there was this like, bro, check out this new sheet.
We had displays.
Oh man.
I mean, I remember when I seen the fourth one, I was like, damn, they got 4 already.
No, yeah, I went out there. He has a sheet, and it looks like those soda machines where you can pick any flavor, except it's candles. It's like all spread out on it.
Well, and like I said, with the level that we're at now, our one goal, we always know what's kind of coming next, but our one goal is just maximize that and get this as sustainable as possible before we scale up again.
So which one of you guys' stores sells the most? Is it all mostly online, you'd say?
No. Online we don't push the way that we want to. Again, we're restructuring
Was that because
all
it's
that.
rebuilding though?
Yeah.
You're trying to do that all organically then, right? Just have your own
Yeah.
website and just do everything through yourself. Makes sense.
With Shopify, but it's just because it makes sense to use Shopify. But Milwaukee Public Market probably sells the most. Wax
got the
Wing
most
in
traffic.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Mars Cheese Castle was moving them so fast when they were selling them. Again, I don't know exactly how their buyer does it, but it's like from July through the winter. Like I say, he doesn't buy, so I can't say them right now. And then Modern Apothecary and Kenosha. I mean, honestly, majority of our accounts move them pretty freaking consistently. That's why we know we have something
you
good.
gotta think too. So those are either buyers that are in the area, or in the case of Mars Cheese Castle, maybe Milwaukee, they're buyers that are leaving, and they're just spreading the word. They're bringing that to wherever they're going. You know what I mean? People leaving Wisconsin, going to Illinois or whatever state that is, and just spreading the word. That's awesome.
There's a shop in Stevens Point. I think it's in Wausau, which is right up by Stevens Point. They sell a shit ton there. And that store owner does a really good job of pushing all of her products, so she helps a ton. But we've had multiple Instagram, Facebook interactions with people like, we found these in this store. Like, I'm definitely buying more. That's always good. And that just made me think of another point. The store does matter, too, in the fact that I'm not going to say which store it was, but there's a store in Racine that right away they were iffy about buying them. I'm decent at sales, so I push,
right.
and I did carry them. And they were not selling there, and they dropped the price to like 50 cents over what they bought them for. And it was lower than we even were wholesaling to certain accounts for, and it takes value away from us. But I remember them telling me when I went in there, like, we don't know if our customer base will buy these, kind of higher end, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, listen, if you put them in the right spot, they'll sell. And I remember seeing them in the shelving that they had them. They were stuffed away in a corner. Nobody would have ever been able to find them. I went there on my own to try to find them on my own. I had to ask somebody. And it's like, you as a store owner, like, you have products. Like, you also work in the sales industry, believe it or not. Like, the products aren't just going to sell themselves. Like, you have to do something, too, as well. And us getting displays has helped with that. But at the end of the day, like, as a store owner, it's any business owner, like, you got to have boots on the ground somewhere, and stuffing them away in a corner, like, that's
just not doing
sell.
you any good either. You're already in the hole now, the money. Like,
Exactly.
why would you not want to try and get rid of them?
But it's easy for a store. They wanted to blame that on us.
Right.
Like, it wasn't. It was not our fault. They put them in the right
why
spot.
Why did we buy these?
If they put them in the right spot there, they would have sold, but they didn't. They stuffed them in a corner and marked them down, and they took away value, and we'll never work with them again. That's that. But it happens.
Yeah, right. Screw it. You live and you learn.
I think I know what store you're talking about. Because I saw them at a certain store, like, way in the back, and you even said their name. So, I won't say it right now.
Were they in Racine?
Yeah.
Was it a grocery store?
No.
Okay. The store I'm talking about was a grocery store.
She just ousted another one. She just ousted him.
So you're probably talking about Dimples.
Yeah, I'm talking
I was
about
actually
Dimples, actually, they sold decent there.
Oh, Dimples.
No, I know that one of their owners said something to my business partner about one of my Facebook posts.
Oh, my
so
God.
that might have limited us a little bit. We haven't followed up with them a ton. I don't know. Maybe cut this part out, but yeah, I should contact them again and get them a display because honestly, I think they did decent there. But also downtown is really weird. Like they don't like Carriage House has them downtown. They don't, and now that they know Reef Point does, like they probably don't want to carry them. Like downtown's different that way.
Really?
Yeah, they don't want to.
That's probably a whole
nother
other animal.
It is a whole other animal. We had a storage in Milwaukee that our candles would have done really well at, but because of the radius that they were in regards to one of our bigger accounts, they didn't want to sell and compete against that store. They just turned us down.
You know, it might be pretty nice.
But then that same store, or the store they didn't want to compete with for our candles, ordered the next day. So like it works out. It's fine.
You should check out like a Lake Geneva area.
Yeah, we're
in
in
a lot of beer stuff.
I'm
around
actually
there.
happy you say that because we are in it's called Lake Lawn Resort. It's in Delavan, but when I drove home from there, I drove through downtown Lake Geneva, and there's just a ton of shops that we need to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
especially like it's kind of like that little hipster area where there's all them beers.
and they all have
there.
money too, and
Yeah,
like
and you're-
this,
and you just
they won't
walk
complain
around.
about paying $16 or $18 for a pretty badass candle that does burn 40 hours. Like I get that it's small, but 40-hour burn time is wild. And that doesn't mean you burn it for 40 hours straight. You're not supposed to burn any candles longer than 4 hours. But it will burn for 40 hours. If you burn it for 4 hours a day, you should get 10 days out of it, which is it's high quality.
Right.
For the size and 8-ounce candle.
Yeah, this is like the perfect place for you to be in order to really, I think, start. Like nowhere I think in the United States could you do that so well than here. There are very few places.
Again, that's the type of thing that I would thank God for, allowing me to be moving home and allowing me to be in Racine, to be in a position where, this does make the most sense to build it here. All those things coming together, I don't think that's a coincidence. I just can't think that there's anything that I did on my own to allow that to happen.
That's crazy. And to think you did that video for that news station and you guys had like just started and you were almost nowhere near to where you are now, I would assume.
Yeah, no, we were making them on our own still, and we only had 4 fragrances. I mean, we weren't.
That's just crazy to think how leaps and
stepping
bounds,
stone,
brick by brick.
So how do you guys run your social media? Just do you guys split it by 2 or?
We just kind of do whatever, which is probably why we aren't the best at. We're decent. Our Instagram gets, I'd say, a fair amount of attention for what we are, but we kind of just do it impulsively. There's not really a lot of structure to it, which if we did have more structure, probably would have more success with it. And that's one thing that we're working on. And when we have our website all the way down pat and where we want it to be, and then it'll allow us, I guess, to kind of put a little more structure on it. But it's just inconsistent right now. It's just because, again, we kind of do it off impulse.
Yeah. Do you do like on
we do
Instagram
it
like
subjectively,
like
not objectively? What's that?
Do you do like on Instagram like reposts? If they take a picture of or something, you're like, hey, check it out. Repost. I got a picture of our candle.
Well, like that picture that girl sent me, that's not on Instagram, but like we'll take that picture and I'll put it on Instagram and I'll put it side by side with the text that she sent to be like, I just
bring
talked,
it home.
I mean, I just talked. I'm gonna say something along. Like I already know what I'm gonna post. It's gonna be something along the lines of, just last week I was talking about having setbacks, but literally the next day we get this, and it's like it just, reiterates the fact that we know that we're onto something. We just got to keep sticking with it, and it'll all work out. I mean, I think that's the beauty of building anything, not just business, just anything you do in life is like you have the setbacks, but then you have the signs that are like, okay, just stick with this, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Do you roll up to like when you go talk to whoever you got to talk to, you like in a fucking suit?
Oh no, you're funny for that. When I first started, and I have a couple reasons why no to that. But when I first started, I would dress like decent, like a button up, like, you know, make a good first impression, make my hair nice, like blah blah blah. And yeah, I mean, how you present yourself does matter. But even like when I was sitting with homeowners running a painting business, and this was an internship for me, like they told us to dress as a college student. And now, especially if I'm only following up and like I know we've been working with the account, like there's times where I've came in with like some sweatpants, like I mean just my brewer's hat, like the one I'm wearing right now. And even if I'm gonna make a new sale, I'll probably put some jeans on. But like I don't try to
put jeans
class
on.
it up.
I don't try to overdo it just because we are just. Again, I know I said fake it till you make it, but at the end of the day, you also want to stay true to who you are, and like we are just 22. I'm gonna be 23 in a couple months, but my business partner is 24. Like I don't want to really have a corporate look at all. Like I don't. It's not me.
It's not the candle either.
I met with a financial advisor like a couple weeks ago just to talk. Just sit down, and I knew he was gonna be in a suit, and like I purposely underdressed like so hardcore. Like I think I was in the same clothes from the night before, like hoodie, sweats, like
just to let this guy know.
Well, I just want him to know, like, dude, you're not gonna sell me on anything trying to do it this corporate way. Like it's not who we are. Like I just dropped out of school. Like I'm just me. Like just a dude. Like I'm not gonna try to go above and beyond and try to, you know. And it's, I think that corporate whole aspect of things is slowly dying out too, and I think it should. I don't know why all these people are trying to put on this facade.
Well, I feel like once you get to a certain height of certain like bigness of your brand, you almost have to. Like imagine trying to run Amazon like a happy-go-lucky think tank. You need corporate to run Amazon.
Well, you could be professional in the way you carry yourself, but it doesn't mean that you have to, like he said, you know, wear a suit when you're showing up
right.
to get an account. If we had like a meeting with some huge, I don't know, grocery store that's like organic, you know, like a
Whole
Trader
Foods?
Joe's or something like that.
There's one in Kenosha. Are you trying to get into that then?
Well, stores like that you have to go through online, and it's actually very difficult because you don't. The reason why I'm good at sales is because I always know who to talk to, and if I get that person, I know I'm going to close. And like corporations like that weed that out by a lot of small steps. And like we just aren't established enough to, not quite, we're close, just not quite established enough to get our foot in the door. But once our foot's in the door, if they had a meeting with us and sat down with us, like, yeah, I'd dress a little nicer. I still wouldn't wear a suit, but
He's about to get a section at Target, bro, like a whole beerMe section.
no, we wouldn't want to be at Target though because it would take away from our brand. But I like where your head's at.
What about?
What is that?
I say Hobby Lobby all the time because that little man cave area.
Yep.
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby
my
would be
God.
great. Boston store just opened a local section for every state that they're in. They have a Wisconsin one that I don't know why we're not
Oh,
in.
Starbucks.
I'm gonna re-listen to
That
this
would
and-
definitely have to be a pain.
They
in
don't
the
sell
ass.
candles at Starbucks.
No, but I mean, are you kidding me? It's a coffee shop.
Yeah, those would sell there.
Any type of coffee shop.
We want to partner with breweries.
Wilson's.
That would be
Yeah,
big.
I was about to say, have you tried Wilson's?
I don't even know what Wilson's
Oh,
is.
man.
I'm gonna
Wilson's
go
is like
back
a
and
little-
re-listen to this and just write all the.
Write down Wilson's.
I'm
for
gonna
him,
write.
too.
I'm gonna write all these down that I just went over. Like this is good. This is good follow up for me. It gives me something to do all next week.
It's like a
this
little
is-
hipster coffee
This is what I'm
shop.
gonna do all next week. I'm gonna sit and contact all these places. Like I'm not even kidding.
Durango's on 20. You know where that is?
Yeah.
It's right across the
West
street.
Racine.
Oh, so about it, and I feel like with a display at Wilson's, that's something that would be
Bro.
nice.
So what do the displays entail? Like, what do you got going on with that?
Didn't you have a cardboard one?
Do you got like a little? Do you got a little
I have a
fake
picture of
LED
it.
one like inside this that just?
No,
you
it's
know?
it's very basic. It's true to the brand. It's very straightforward. I'll show you. This is bad radio. Nobody else
Smells-
can see this right
smells
now,
freaking
even though I'm showing them
fantastic,
this.
I know.
I keep getting whiffs.
Nah, dude, people don't they don't really watch
Coffee.
YouTube.
Coffee was the last fragrance. That I did say firewood. It was coffee. Damn it. So leather, whiskey,
If that wouldn't
tobacco,
sell there, I don't know what.
leather,
what-
whiskey, tobacco, grass, coffee, firewood, cedar, barbershop. Shit. How many?
No,
is this?
not
This is
shit.
eight. This is
There's
eight.
not a shit fragrance. I promise you.
Even if it
Oh,
was, it
bacon,
smells fantastic.
and then apple ale, vanilla porter, oatmeal stout, IPA. I think that's all 13. There we go. Here's the display right here.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
Never surfaced.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Well, I would say sandalwood because we changed the name.
Surfaced.
I would say sandalwood just because we changed the name from tobacco to sandalwood, so I guess that never came, but it was the same fragrance. He already had the 13 in mind when I met him, even though we only had 3. So those 13 kind of were always going to be the 13. Again, that's how his brain works. He just knew that those 13 together made the most sense.
How do you even figure out how to make those smells? Is that his side too? Or?
No. So there's fragrance companies like in California, and we just basically tell them this is what we're looking for, and they'll send us a sample back, and we'll kind of say, add this nuance to it or something like that.
He hires professional sniffers to come to the place, and they start sniffing his.
Just our friends, really. But we'll have like 4 samples, and we'll just pick the best one, or maybe do some mixing. But we kind of leave that up to the chemist. I'm sure my business partner could figure that out if he wanted, just because of how his brain is. But again, just leave that up to the chemist.
I think it's super cool that you've branched out so far and are using like these manufacturing companies for the bottles. You're using the shipping for this. You're talking to people in California. Like just this little tiny company we have here in Racine is branched out so far and providing work for so much other people, and utilizing that. You know what I mean? It's just so cool that you can do that.
Yeah, I forget that we help keep other people employed too. They
Yeah.
have something to do. Not some like this bottle company. They produce like 100,000 units for some accounts. Like
Right,
and
but
we're small peanuts to them. But yeah, I mean everything has levels, and
Yeah.
and yeah, I appreciate that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm excited for you to go back and listen to this and write stuff down, because I'm getting excited thinking about places they could go too. Because I'm gonna start walking into places and see it, and I'm gonna be just excited about it.
He's on the first ever
Yeah, I know.
Orbit the Mind.
Yeah, you're gonna
Inside the
you're gonna have
mind
to
of
get the
Sam
tobacco.
Mcfarland.
You're gonna have to get the tobacco.
Dangerous place
A dangerous place
sometimes.
sometimes.
Mars Cheese Castle.
I would not wish my thoughts upon anybody else. Like I'm happy that I'm the one who has the thoughts.
Has to deal with them.
Yeah,
You get to deal with them.
yeah.
Nobody else. Yeah. Imagine that, dude. What if that was what if that was a type of punishment? You took your thoughts, whatever you were thinking, and you put it inside someone's head. Like, what if you could do that?
I usually have pretty good thoughts.
Like actively.
Yeah,
think
no, that would be wild.
that was your dad.
Again, I told you I'm high strung, anxiety all the time. Like my head's all over the place. Like I get paranoid about dumb shit that I don't need to freaking fret over, and I still do. Like, but I know that it's me. I know how to manage it. Like I would never wish that upon anybody else. Try to manage that.
Yeah, it's almost once you get to that realization, like, all right, we're doing this again. Let's get through this. Like, understanding that your anxiety or whatever it is that you have is going to come, instead of trying to like always run away from it, I think is a lot better.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot easier to
That's
handle.
why I don't agree with. I mean, I think there's people who genuinely need them, but anti-anxiety medication I'm really not for. I think as humans we're supposed to figure that out, how to manage ourselves on our own. Again, I think there's people with real disorders. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I
Right.
think it's just handed out like candy. And I in my life, when I first started getting like anxiety or like, I guess, quote unquote depression, like of course you're scared at first, but you kind of learn how to manage it. And I think part of it, I didn't start getting anxiety until I stopped playing football. So I think I put a void in my life. I think that anxiety could be used in a good way if you know how to use that. You have to like know how to channel that type of energy.
Oh,
That's why
100%.
meditation. I was such a big preacher of mindfulness meditation. I downloaded an app, Headspace, to teach me how to do that. And literally teaches you how to channel your thoughts and how to put your energy towards things that when your brain wants to focus on something else, teaches you how to sit down and focus on what's in front of you, that type of thing. And it's like, anxiety, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have the type of energy that I do have. You know what I mean? I'm not anxious right now at all. It's because I'm taking all that energy and I'm putting it towards something. You know what I mean? I'm doing something with it rather than just sitting on it, letting it build up inside of me.
Yeah, I downloaded Headspace. I did it for a while, and then the app started fucking up my phone.
Well, dude, if you did it for a while, you should be able to just do it on your own without the phone.
I know, actually, but I like the way the guy talked to you.
I know, he has a soothing
that
voice.
voice,
It's
man. I'm
wild.
like, who is this guy?
You
He's
guys
like
should do a
Australian
yoga
or
class,
something.
man. Do a yoga class. It's fantastic.
Yeah?
Oh my god, I love it.
Have you done hot yoga?
No.
I hear that's pain.
It sounds horrible, but I would like to try it since how much I liked yoga.
Speaking of everything that Joe Rogan likes, have you guys heard about those float tanks?
Running hills.
Yeah, let's go run some hills. There's a float tank place in
They got them on Groupon.
Milwaukee.
Let's go.
Yeah, and it's
podcast.
like $70 for one float, or like
We'll
120 for
We'll vlog it.
2 floats. And I want to try it.
I think it's just called Float Milwaukee too.
Yeah, I think it's just Float Milwaukee. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna vlog it. It's the deal.
So yeah, is that our thing? That's what I was thinking now. Like, not many people are podcast people, and let alone podcast people are usually in their own little tribe of what podcasts they watch. And then thirdly, not many people want to sit down and listen to somebody talk for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? I don't mind it.
Well, you
I
have to
enjoy
incentivize people.
Yeah.
And the way that you do that is through ads, and you subscribe. You're gonna listen to this episode, and this episode has a coupon for this thing. Like, that's why I was talking a little bit before about, is there a way that you could make an aspect of it about Racine? You know what I mean? And tie some Racine local businesses into it, or current events in Racine, or anything like that, or even just the state. Because it's really, especially hour and a half, 2 hours, it'd be really hard to incentivize people, to motivate them to want to go out of their way. And again, time's a valuable thing.
Right.
Hour and a half is a long time.
And a lot of people are still listening to music.
Yeah, and especially too is like nobody from like Florida is gonna roll up and be like, oh, here's these people on YouTube with 20 subscribers, let me listen to them. It's like you're gonna get somebody here to listen to you first. Like, hey, check out my podcast. We started doing it.
But think too, like I thought about it when I was I'm thinking about these things. We're one episode in.
Yeah.
Right, 20,
22.
Yeah, but I didn't start listening to Joe Rogan until he was on episode like 950. 950.
Seriously, though.
950 episodes in, and I didn't start listening. He was huge then, and now he's even huge. But he was doing 3 years worth of stuff before I even listened to the podcast. So
well, go back and look at his episode. See if you can pull up his episode 22. Make sure the sound's off. It's not even as good as ours.
Are you serious?
Oh my god, it's horrible. Pull up his first one.
No, I want to see episode 22.
Okay.
Episode 1.
It's him and Brian Redband sitting in front of a webcam.
No way.
That is episode 1.
He started doing it on his couch.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
Go to 22.
With you guys,
I had no idea it was
dropping each episode on Monday. That's really, really difficult. I'll tell you why. Because Monday's the beginning of everybody's week. It's everybody's busiest day of the week. And there's a lot of TV shows and other things that are only on Mondays. That's what you're competing against. If I were you guys, take it for what it's worth, I'd put this out on Sunday night. That's when everybody has their free time. That's when people are going to be more bored as fuck. Don't know what else to do. Might as well flip this on.
I was talking about changing the day too, because the only reason we did Monday is because we looked up a bunch of Facebook and YouTube analytics, and that's when a lot of traffic was going through. But I do notice
a
lot of traffic for the big YouTube vloggers that have 1 million subscribers, though. It's you know what I mean? They've already hit that market. They've already conquered that. Nobody's putting a podcast out on a Sunday night.
Maybe that's what we should do then, because I think.
But again, stick to your guns. Don't let me influence you.
No, because we don't get that much traffic on Mondays. We've been noticing the first few podcasts when we posted it on Facebook. They'll show you how many people you reached, and it'll be. I think the first one was 800, and I was like, that's reasonable. I can live with that. They just went downhill from there.
Sure.
It was 500. We have some with 200, and then one time we posted a photo. It might have been on a Saturday or Friday, whenever day we were recording, and we were like, hey, get ready for episode whatever on Monday. It had 900, and we were like, what the fuck, man? I'm never posting a photo again. Now everybody looked at the photo, and nobody's gonna look at the link.
Well, and I just think about the vibe that you guys have. I guess it's very more laid back. We're all just chilling, shooting the shit. People on Mondays just aren't chilling, shooting the shit,
right,
vibing out to peace. People on Sunday nights are. They are. That's you're able to sit down on your couch and enjoy a nice beer and just flip something on and listen to something.
I feel like one thing would benefit is after each guest, the description of the video needs to be on par with what was happening. And if we're going to be someone or a group that's more broad, and other people that we talk to and the things that we talk about, the definition of it needs to be within the text of the video. You know what I mean? Hey, this is Sam Mcfarland. He does this, and this, and this is kind of what we talked about. So a person knows what they're getting into for every episode, because we don't have a blanket idea or thing that we talk about.
Sure. So check
Don't
this
worry,
out.
Maddie does a good job of that.
Yeah. No. Oh.
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if she does this, but like I know when I post, I'm going to talk about all the subjects that we specifically hit on, and then I'm hoping that in the description, this would be her doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like at 45 minutes, they talked about God. Like at 55 minutes, they talked about this. Like every time you switch a subject, like yes, you should have the minutes that they was talking about.
Have you done this? We've done it.
I've done timestamps before.
Timestamps.
It just depends on
She has to actually listen to
who's
it.
there and like, because it takes a really long time to do that. So
Yeah.
I kind of get lazy.
Uh-oh.
That's our production manager.
We might need a new production manager.
Switch
So
places.
that's the
Right.
intern and the production manager.
No, I
Oh,
think
jeez.
switching
by
to Sunday would
the
help,
way, sorry, you can go ahead.
because on Monday, like I go back to school, I'm
Yeah, I
so
was
busy.
gonna
We're
say,
like, we'll be at school, like, okay, we gotta get this up.
Yeah, I'll
but,
see
like,
him.
I'm also in class, like trying to do it. So I feel like Sunday, like
Yeah,
I'd
I
have
like
way
that
more
too.
time to actually like.
This is why we bring the
make a
entrepreneur on.
description.
Well, this is what I'm thinking is like to sell it as like
Aspiring entrepreneur.
this is aspiring.
Aspiring.
To sell it as like, here, listen to us for an hour and a half. It's a lot more difficult than we do talk for an hour and a half, but and then below that you have again at 40. People might want to, when I post it, people might want to hear me talk about everything but God, and they might only go to those specific areas.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay if you get them to listen to just that specific area. Maybe they like it so much they end up listening to the whole thing. You're not going to get anybody to listen to it right off the bat, the whole thing.
And that's what I try to draw in with the clips. I do like 5 to 10 minute clips of like just an interesting part, and then I'll post
30
that.
seconds.
I'll post that separate. I could do 30 seconds
gotta
too.
do 30
I'm telling you,
seconds.
30 seconds, dude. It's quicker.
Maybe I'll do 30 seconds on Facebook because I upload them on YouTube
Sure.
separately
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, still do your YouTube thing, and then just put a 30-second clip on YouTube, your favorite, and break that down. I mean, do you watch how Barstool does?
There's episode 1
yeah.
of theirs.
Nice.
They're on TV dinner trays.
Have you should watch honestly because
Happens.
Barstool they document everything. I go follow all their Instagram accounts, look at all their different podcasts, and look at like the clip. The clip is what draws people in. The Instagram clip, the little brief 15-second, 30-second video, so fucking awesome. Like people play that and they're like, oh, maybe I want to go listen to this whole thing. I mean, I think you have honestly immediate results from that. And it sounds like you're kind of doing that, but even 5 minutes is pretty long.
Yeah.
People want 30 seconds. That's the world we live in now.
Yeah, that is very much the
30
truth.
seconds to decide whether or not it's something they want to give an hour and a half to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
People and their fucking short attention spans.
Also, anybody
Hey, the
who's
market's
listening,
the market.
Yeah, right.
anybody who's listening this deep and haven't already noticed, E-Man did not leave the podcast.
To go take a piss.
Oh yeah.
No, not only
Oh.
that.
No.
Our last episode was announcing that he was gone.
Oh.
Yeah, because he didn't want anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
The return.
Hit the return.
And by
So-
the way, I have to piss really fucking
Oh, so he does have
So
to
he's
piss.
a co-producer now. That's what he wants to do.
Oh,
he
I'm
looks like
Jordan.
he's got a fun little area over there.
Previous guest, now co-star,
Yeah.
co-host.
Yeah, on many yes.
Oh, look, there I am.
I really enjoy this aspect too.
Yeah, wait.
I
I was
can
just
see the
saying,
beautiful
Jordan, you're
faces.
not. Are you a co-host?
Yeah.
No.
As
Yeah.
of now.
This is
Good.
his first
Yeah.
episode.
That was another suggestion that was you have is YouTube might as well just do that if they're gonna do that. I mean, that's probably the best setup that you guys got.
Yeah,
and
that's
whatever
right.
he's freaking good at that she's not, and vice versa. Have each of them go all in on that area.
I will say you are really good at with the Twitter fingers.
Am
Putting them up in a Google real quick
Yeah,
because
you
he's
can't
on
see it, but he's been on it. Yeah, with
Yeah, everything we talk about that way. It hasn't gotten stale. Yeah, it's been nice. I'm not saying Maddie.
You
wasn't
guys got a
at it,
good
but
little
she
good
had
team forming. No, that's
she
good.
had 3 things going on. So
Yeah, it was different.
Hey, that's life. Building
looks
anything
cool. I
again.
mean, if
you gotta
anything-
delegate a little bit.
Yeah.
he's showing off Maddie's description.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, all your
Very
stuff
much.
will be in the description, by the way.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean by.
Go to their Instagram, Maddie, please.
Yeah, these past 10
Right
minutes.
when I
Sorry
close
for
it,
whoever's
I know.
listening to these past 10 minutes.
I'm just gonna leave out my all-time favorite episode and go piss.
Like, check this out. Read that description.
We should, start packing these things up. I got a party I gotta go to.
After he was just asking me, Sam, what do you
Yeah.
have going on tonight?
I know. Well, that's why I figured I'd ask. It's a nice thing to do, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Man, I was hoping I was gonna come on here and give
Yeah,
a
that's
gun
it.
a gun
That is
rant.
a good format.
We never
And
really
then-
talked about
and
it.
then that 13-minute to 20-minute section with, well, not even that. Washington Redskins. He's on there for 22 minutes till 55 minutes, but they put up a 15-second clip of one aspect of that. You know what I mean? And that's why everybody wanted to watch it.
What's Uncle Jake going on about?
I don't know. E-Man, this is just his favorite episode because it was funny.
Yeah, man. Aspiring entrepreneur, Sammy Mack, coming out of Racine. If you had to give advice to anybody that was listening, what would that advice be?
Oh man, the most practical advice. I think just take yourself out of your comfort zone. Don't be comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not where you're supposed to be, and eat shit for however long it takes till it helps you really figure out who the heck you are or who you want to be. And then everything that you do should reflect every decision you make, every person that you surround yourself with, all that needs to reflect who you want to be at the end. And again, I have a long ways to go. That hasn't necessarily worked for me yet because I haven't accomplished what I want to accomplish, but it's taken me steps in ways that I had never had before. It's a lot more sustainable, and it's true to who I am. And I think everybody needs to just hold that in mind. Stay true to who they are, and the things around them need to reflect that.
Well, you heard it here.
All right.
Sammy Mack.
Is that good?
That was great, man. That was great. That was wonderful having you on, man.
Awesome episode.
I appreciate you guys. I
yeah.
do. This is fun. This is fun for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it when they come on. I mean, throw some headphones on, listen to yourself talk. Got a little bass in the voice.
Yeah, I hope you want to come back.
I would love to come back.
Okay, for sure. You're gonna be, one of our first reoccurring guests.
Yeah,
hopefully. So
we don't have a long list of important guests, so
we're hoping to get Sam Shimitz on here, aka Shim, rapper, good friend of mine. But yeah, man. Thanks, Sammy Mack. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Right.
I appreciate
Peace.
you guys.
All right.